Indonesia starts its chairmanship of the Association of Southeast Asian Nations, or ASEAN, by hosting its first major meeting this week. The group's foreign ministers will gather at the ASEAN Secretariat in Jakarta to discuss a slew of issues affecting the region. One topic likely to be high on the agenda is the political crisis in Myanmar. CNA's Saiful Ismail with this report.
Indonesia kicked off its chairmanship of ASEAN with a ceremony at the iconic Welcome Monument in central Jakarta. The last time Indonesia led ASEAN was in 2011, but it faces different challenges now. One key concern is the political crisis in Myanmar, which was triggered by the military coup in February 2021. Jakarta wants to drum up the message that it's committed to help Myanmar.
Kita ingin implementasi 5 point of consensus ini menjadi platform utama, mekanisme utama dari ASEAN untuk berkontribusi untuk membantu Myanmar keluar dari krisis politiknya.
The 5-point consensus is ASEAN's peace plan for Myanmar, which was agreed by all 10 leaders in Jakarta in April 2021. The 5 points call for an immediate cessation of violence, dialogue among all parties, the appointment of a special envoy, engagement with the envoy, and regional humanitarian assistance. But nearly 2 years later, the Myanmar military regime has not honored its part of the agreement. Analysts say the regional group's clout on Myanmar is limited and is unable to take a tougher stance against the military regime.
Unfortunately, ASEAN does not have a mechanism for definitive suspension, let alone expulsion of a member. In the UN, a member can be suspended through the action of the UN Security Council. The Commonwealth can suspend its member, but ASEAN, unfortunately, does not have that kind of stipulations.
Indonesia said it has formed the Office of Special Envoy to Myanmar, led by the Foreign Minister as mandated by the 5-point consensus.
Looking at the complexities of the crisis, it will never be solved in 1 year. That's why if each ASEAN chair just think within the framework of 1 year, it will not go anywhere. Rather than a chair special envoy, it should be ASEAN special envoy. ASEAN needs to deal with this, not individual chair, because it's like passing the ball, for one chair, okay, now it's your problem, now it's your turn.
Indonesia will also try to engage with all stakeholders in Myanmar, something which the previous 2 ASEAN chair, Cambodia and Brunei, had failed to do.
At the moment, there is distrust towards ASEAN from the opposition, from the NUG, because they've been disappointed, by the moves by some ASEAN countries who seem to be giving endorsement to the junta. So it is considered to be an achievement if during the Indonesian chairmanship there'll be possibilities for the various parties to meet together.
There are high expectations of Indonesia as Southeast Asia's biggest economy to find a breakthrough on the Myanmar crisis.
If there is no breakthrough with Myanmar crisis, regardless whatever Indonesia has achieved during the chairmanship, it will be still tainted. People will still criticize it's not a successful chairmanship.
Myanmar's military regime recently issued a strict new electoral law, the latest sign it's planning fresh polls this year. This could be the latest challenge for ASEAN to make sure that the election does not spiral into fresh rounds of violence.
Indonesia will need to lead ASEAN this year on a number of other issues. For example, how to manage the South China Sea dispute and how to ensure ASEAN's growth amid economic uncertainties. But the biggest challenge facing Indonesia is probably on how to deal with the political turmoil in Myanmar. Observers say if Indonesia is able to show progress on the crisis, it will be long remembered as an effective leader in the region. Saiful Ismail, CNA, Jakarta.